And we have live team coverage beginning with CBS 2's Greg Mills in Canyon Country, where people finally headed back home today. Good evening, Greg.
Good evening, Chris. And most of them are very, very happy. Matt Green, though, came home to this. His wife still hasn't seen this. She's coming over from Las Vegas. The Davila's unpacking. Fire evacuees allowed to return home. The tick fire drove thousands out of their homes.
I thought that we were going to burn. I really did, yeah. I was so close to us, and I'm just like, oh my God, I don't know how we made it out.
They made it out from the fire here on Sugarloaf Court.
And we couldn't see anything. It was pitch black. All the ashes, they burned my hair.
They got to the 14 freeway, her sister driving, heading to Mom's house in Lancaster.
And I was begging her, I was like, please just turn back, turn back.
You see her cell phone video of the flames along the 14 freeway.
It's on both sides. Our car can explode. I just prayed, and I said, God, just let me go through.
The voice of this woman, the driver and the homeowner here, who didn't want her face shown or her name used. She didn't think she would have a home to return to.
No, I did not, because the way it felt when we left at 2 in the morning, I mean, we were surrounded by the fire.
The fire that destroyed the Greens' home. Matt Green said he escaped as this happened. The home, he told me, that 2 tours of duty with the Army in Iraq paid for. He didn't want to go on camera for an interview, but he is upset. He believes this could have been prevented. He said he emailed Santa Clarita repeatedly over 2 years, asking them to clear this city-owned property where this, at the time, dense brush was. He said he watched what he called a snowstorm of a fire jump from there to the eaves of his home and then take it down. People returning home today know they could face round 2 of intense wildfire danger once again very soon.
We're more prepared for it if we are supposed to evacuate again.
I'm not exactly worried too much about another evacuation because there's not a lot left to burn.
Well, he's absolutely right about that. As for Matt Green and his wife, he said they are very resilient. They will build again. Reporting live from Canyon Country, Greg Mills, CBS 2 News. Sarah, Chris, back to you.
Yeah, just so hard to see. Greg,
wow.
Thank you.
Grape harvest season was still underway in the Sonoma County when the Kincaid fire sparked in California's famed vineyards. Firefighters have been since battling the flames on the ground with the help of planes dropping retardant trying to suppress them. But the weather conditions have not helped.
That we're potentially going to see a historical wind event, and it has us highly concerned that the vulnerable areas of California could see some explosive fire. So that's why we are reiterating this kind of vigilance that we're preaching to everybody.
The infamous Santa Ana winds have also kept its strength in Southern California as the tick fire approached several residential areas. Both fires triggered evacuation orders for at least 100,000 people.
This is the largest evacuation that we've had in Santa Clarita.
The big concern is right now that
officials are warning that heavy winds could return late on Saturday, while locals are bracing for more power outages imposed by the utility company.
Power's been out for a day and a half now, or almost a day and a half, and it's supposed to be out for another 2 days. But as long as I got water, I've got gas heater, a gas water heater and a gas stove, and I can cook and take a hot shower if I want to. I'm fine.
Authorities have set up evacuation centers and warned locals to remain alert.
We ask that people pay attention to the evacuations. It is mandatory.
And until those fires are contained, the state of emergency will remain in place. It is Tian Shan, CGTN, Los Angeles.
Millions of Californians are preparing to live in the dark again as the wildfire threat intensifies. The state's largest power company is pulling the plug on hundreds of thousands of homes and businesses to combat fierce winds that have the potential to bring down trees and power lines and spark new fires.
We're potentially going to see a historical wind event, and it has us highly concerned that the vulnerable areas of California could see some explosive fires.
That's prompted PG&E to cut electricity for the 3rd time in as many weeks, but this one's the largest, affecting millions of people in Northern California. 2 massive wildfires have already scorched thousands of acres at opposite ends of the state and forced tens of thousands of people from Los Angeles to wine country to evacuate their homes.
Scary, crazy. We've lived here 37 years and never had to evacuate.
I just threw stuff in the car, in the trunk of the car, and, with my cat and my dog.
Some people may not have anything to go back to. Take a look at this video. Fast-moving flames from the tick fire in Southern California threatening to engulf a home.
Everyone evacuate, the smoke's coming up!
And then there's this video of a family loading their belongings into a vehicle as the fire looms and black smoke rises in the distance. To the north, firefighters are racing to get a handle on the Kincade fire as the winds pick up. The U.S. National Weather Service says gusts this weekend could reach nearly 140 kilometers per hour. Last year, a wildfire sparked by a PG&E transmission line tore through the town of Paradise, killing dozens and destroying even more homes.
The shutoff by PG&E hopes to avoid the destruction caused by last November's Camp Fire, the most destructive wildfire in California's history. But still, the state's governor is blasting the utility for the blackouts.
We should not have to be here. Years and years of greed, years and years of mismanagement. We will hold them accountable for the business interruption and costs associated with these blackouts, and we will do the same with the other two investor-owned utilities in Southern California.
Fire has burned 4,615 acres. 9 structures have been destroyed, 9 more have been damaged, and more than 10,000 people remain threatened right now. So far, there have been no reports of any injuries. Fire Chief Sam now joins us this morning from the Verdugo Fire Academy to talk a little bit more about fire safety.
Yeah, Chief, you've been here throughout the couple of days. Thank you so much. We want to talk about this weekend. You know, Valencia, we're getting a break from the winds. So what will crews be focusing on this weekend before the winds pick back up?
The big thing is to increase the containment lines and put out any hot spots, because as the winds are supposed to pick up tomorrow and into Monday, any hot spots have the capability of blowing into the brush and reigniting the fire. So containment lines are huge right now.
So it's possible the land that burned already could reignite?
Absolutely. You have hot spots out there. Wind gusts that are forecasted could easily spread and reignite unburned fuels.
And for everyone who's watching and may not have been affected by the current fires burning right now, there might be a fire sometime soon. What should they prepare for?
Emergency supply kit, cash, important documents, photos, your pet and pet foods, and harden your home, meaning secure that home. Get that patio furniture pulled away, prepare your home, make sure you have the leaves, needles, and twigs and combustibles pulled away, because we do have winds forecasted tomorrow night and into Monday and possibly into next week. Start thinking now. Everybody thinks it won't happen to them, and it does.
Let's talk about brush clearance. When we say that, let's really define that. What is the brush clearance around a home? What does it contain of?
Well, you contact your local fire department and find out what the vegetation requirements are, the hazardous vegetation away. But you can prune up your trees, especially get rid of the leaves, needles, twigs around your house. Make sure you have your wood piles and things pulled away from your home. Anything combustible, get it away from your home.
Yeah, we cannot thank our firefighters for what they do, thank them enough for what they do. Changing gears here, today is also the 13th anniversary of the Esperanza fire, and that was another wind-driven and deadly fire that broke out just west of Palm Springs, Chief.
Yeah, thank you for bringing that up. It is the 13th year anniversary today of where 5 highly trained firefighters in proper protective equipment and equipment to protect, doing structure protection, they lost their lives. So when we ask people to evacuate, do so. I see people on TV and they have flip-flops and shorts and a garden hose. You're at such big risk. When you're asked to evacuate, do so. Leave it to the professionals.
What happened with those 5 firefighters in that situation?
They were overran by the fire and couldn't escape and lost their lives. And these were, like I said, 5 highly trained professionals. So leave it to the professionals.
Every time I see those folks who are trying to protect their homes, I'm reminded of that too. And I'm like, you're not trained. You probably should get out if they tell you to get out.
And I understand the emotion. That's their home. But you need to evacuate. Your house can be replaced. Your life can't.
God bless those families on this special memorial.
Amen. Thank you.
Thank
Chief Sam,
you.
thanks so much for joining us this morning. We always appreciate that.
A state of emergency in California as wildfires rage over several parts of the state. ABC's Marcy Gonzalez reports from one of the hardest hit communities.
Firefighters working through the night trying to get an upper hand on multiple fires still burning in California.
I've never seen anything this bad.
Near Los Angeles, the tick fire scorching more than 4,000 acres, destroying homes as strong Santa Ana winds erratically spread smoldering embers.
When we saw it, it's surreal.
Investigators now zeroing in on this property where they believe the inferno started. And in Northern California, firefighters battling the massive Kincaid fire.
There's also possible power lines down in the area.
With the revelation, the more than 21,000 acre inferno, which turned more than 20 homes in wine country into rubble, started beneath a power transmission tower. The utility company PG&E says it was left activated despite widespread preemptive blackouts ahead of the extreme fire danger.
They simply did not do their job. We will hold them to an account that they have never been held in the past.
And of course, we have a lot of viewers who are either from California or have relatives in California. We're sending it now to Kelsey with an update on those wildfires. Kelsey.
Well, the Mother Nature is not on the side of firefighters. They have actually seen an improvement in conditions just east of Santa Clarita, but they've seen some very strong winds over the last several days with gusts up to 40 miles per hour. A fire weather watch remains in place for that region, gusts up to 50 miles per hour possible. Just bone dry there with relative humidity as low as 5% in that region. They're also seeing some smoke blowing through that region, and that's encompassing a good portion of Southern California right now. Just to the north in Northern California, the fire that's just north of Santa Rosa. Here's a look at the conditions there. Much worse. We're looking at gusts up to 60 miles per hour with a high wind warning and a fire weather warning in place for those locations with low humidity. That is conducive to extreme fire behavior for those massive fires. So the best chance of seeing any relief for those locations, I think, will be Monday as those winds will hopefully start to die down.